at another civic topic in our civic education class. Civic education exposes us to our rights, our obligation as humans, as citizens of a country. It's enlightening us on the rights that we possess, and it helps us to fit in better into our country, our community, and our environment. So today we are looking at protection of human rights and the rule of law. Remember in our previous classes, about 3 or 4 episodes away, we talked about the rule of law, and we discussed in-depthly what the rule of law is and why the statement, the law is a respecter of no one, comes under the rule of law. Today we're going to see how individuals' rights or human rights are protected under the rule of law. What is human rights? We have 2 objectives for this class. Meaning of human rights, and we're going to explain how individuals and group of individuals assist in protecting human rights and the rule of law. When we talk about human rights, what does it mean? Now let's look at the little chalkboard summary I have put up. Human rights are the basic rights and freedoms that belong to every person in the world. Look at that. Human rights, they are basic rights that belongs to every person in the world, not just a country, not just a community, not just a village, but in the world. So it's a global thing, human rights. And this right protects an individual from birth until death. These basic rights are based on shared values like dignity, fairness, equity or equality, respect, and independence. These values are defined and protected by law. What are we saying? That these rights, these basic rights, this basic freedom that belongs to everyone that is in this world, this basic law, these basic rights protects you from birth to death. And these basic laws are shared values that are defined by law. And what are these shared values? We talk about dignity, we talk about respect, we talk about equality, we talk about fairness, we talk about independency of every human being. That is to say that every human being has the right to respect, has the right to equality of life, have the right to be treated fairly, have the right to independency, and others. So human rights covers the rights of people the world over, not just in a particular country. So it is a basic right that humans possess the world over that protects them from the day they are born to the day they die. And these basic rights are defined and protected by law. That is to say, the law protects every individual in the world from birth to death. And what are these basic rights we're talking about? We are talking about equality. Every human being should be equal. We are talking about respect. We are talking about fairness. And let's look at the second objective. Explain how individuals and groups can assist in protecting human rights under the rule of law. Let me discuss 5 ways they can do this. There are a lot of points. If you have other points, you can add to this, and you can give that as comment below the comment box. Number 1 is an accused person can be represented in the courts of law by a lawyer or lawyers. So an accused person have the right to be defended by the law courts. Lawyers can represent the individual and defend his fundamental human rights. Then the second one is cases of human rights violation could be taken care of by protests and social media coverage or coverage by the media. So people can go on protests, march on the streets, carry black cards. Social media, the media houses can put it out there to create awareness, to let people know that some person's right has been trampled on or have been tampered on. That's another way that we, individuals, groups of persons, can come to protect the rights of their fellow citizen or fellow human being. Then the third one, human rights protection agency exists to defend the rights of citizens. There are agencies, there are NGOs, there are organizations, there are lawyers out there, there are human rights activists out there that have come together to form groups. These groups are aimed to defend and protect the fundamental rights, fundamental human rights of each citizen, of each member, of those around, whether the people are influential people or they are just a minority or they are just subordinates. They are out there to fight for the rights of these individuals. And so these agencies, these NGOs, this group of people come together to fight for the right of others. For example, the Civil Liberty Organization, and other organizations that spring as a result of fighting for the fundamental human rights of human beings. Remember, we told you that fundamental human right deals globally. It's not just for a country. It's a right that an individual possesses. And this right is not peculiar to just a country, but it is a right that you are protected from when you are born to when you die, and it is a global right. It's world over. Alright, the third one is the legislature can equally make an enabling law to protect the fundamental rights of humans. The legislature, laws that are made, those lawmakers of a country, of each country, since it's a global thing, in your own country, those who are legislating, those who are lawmakers, the upper class, those who make the laws in the upper house and the lower house, should take into consideration that there should be a law to protect the rights of humans that lives in their domain, that lives in their country, that lives within their environment. And this law should be aimed and targeted at protecting the human rights, fundamental human rights of every individual. Then the fifth one is international organizations can help to protect human rights. They can give a warning. To countries that refuse or refuses to protect the fundamental human rights of their citizens. For example, the UN, United Nations, we have the Commonwealth, we have the African Union. These are international organizations that are recognized, that can give a strong warning, can give a strong signal to countries that have come to trample on the rights of its citizens, that have come to defend the rights, the fundamental human rights of its citizens. So we have seen how individuals or organizations, we have talked about the organizations like international organizations, NGOs, we've talked about legislature being put in place to protect people. We've talked about going on a protest march, mass media awareness, or media coverage on issues of such. And we'll equally talk about individuals being represented in court by a lawyer or lawyers. So these are ways that individuals and groups of individuals can assist in protecting human rights under the rule of law. So we've covered the two objectives we have today. We've seen what human rights is, and we've equally seen how we can help to protect human rights as individuals or as organizations. So this is our class for today in our civic education class. Watch the class, go back and see our rule of law classes. We have them in series, about 3 series that we have taken, and now we've taken part 1 of this topic, protection of human rights and the rule of law. This is part 1. So until I come your way next class, subscribe if you've not subscribed, share the videos, give your comment below the comment box, ask your question there. That's a point of interaction. Welcome my community. Until I come your way next class, thank you.